Another, another. Okay. So I see that people is still joining us. In any case, we are going to start. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Titan webinar series, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Massimo Magaldi. I'm a technical manager at Engineering Informatica. I am the Titan project coordinator and project manager, and I'll be your host for this session. Join me today are some of the Titan technical partners who have led the design and implementation of the tools we will be reviewing. I will introduce them right after giving you a brief overview of what they be presenting. So, today's agenda, the session will focus on how the Titan project use AI to strengthen citizen critical thinking and media literacy skill in order to counter disinformation. We'll begin with a brief introduction to the Titan project, its innovative approach to empowering people to recognize disinformation tactics, and a quick overview of the Titan platform tools. Next, we'll move on to a technical walkthrough of its features, covering the theoretical foundation, the dialogue design, the implementation approach and technologies, the argument mapping, and the key lesson learned. And finally, we will conclude with a session for your question. Now, before we begin, a few quick notes. You already have probably read into the chat, but this session is being recorded and will be available afterward. Please use the chat for comments and for the Q&A session for your question. We will address your question during the dedicated session at the end of the presentation. Now, let's start with a quick overview of the Titan project. Titan stands for AI for Citizen Intelligent Coaching Against Disinformation. Our main goal is to leverage artificial intelligence to fight disinformation by strengthening citizen critical thinking and media literacy skills. This is in a EU and UK founded Horizon Research and Innovation Action project running for 39 months. And actually, we are currently at the final months of the project. The Titan consortium includes 12 partners from the UAE and 2 from the UK. It has been carefully composed to form a multidisciplinary team. It includes both technology providers and social sciences and humanities experts, ensuring that all dimensions necessary for the successful implementation of the project are fully addressed. Now, let's look at the typical use case that inspired the Titan project: how to recognize disinformation. This scenario focuses on helping citizens identify misleading or false content online. Disinformation is an increasingly recognized as a major threat for democracy. According to the World Economic Forum Global Risk Report, misinformation and disinformation are among the most pressing global risks for the next 2 years. And the challenge is real. 58% of people worldwide say that they are concerned about their ability to distinguish what is true online, as reported by the Rotor Institutes for the Studio Journalists. This context underlines why Titan initiatives are so critical. It's the core of the innovative Titan approach. We use AI not to give verdicts, but to enhance critical thinking and media literacy skills, helping users to recognize disinformation tactics. The system engages users in a Socratic dialogue, guiding them to question sources, analyze language and emotional cues, and look for evidence. Instead of telling users what's true or false, Titan provides structured questions that empower informed judgment. And now let's give a look to the key components of the Titan platform. First, we have the virtual coach, which uses the Socratic dialogue to guide users. It customizes the dialogue according to the critical thinking assessment, which is optional of the user, and the disinformation signal detected in the content end. Next, the Academy provides learning materials focused on media literacy, helping users build essential skills. And finally, the collaboration module offers a collaborative argument mapping tool, enabling users to work together and analyze information critically. These components work in synergy to deliver a comprehensive approach to combating disinformation. This slide presents the model created by Fazione that described the critical thinking model and all the critical thinking dimension that we assess with this optional interactive questionnaire that can be run by the user in order to be assessed against their critical thinking skill, specifically against disinformation. Now, let's take a quick look to the system. This is the slide. This slide presents the virtual coach, which is the Socratic dialogue implementation. As you can see, you can load article two different ways, but most important, you can select three distinct implementation of the dialogue, actually two different technical approaches, but you will know more about this later on in the next presentation about the technical walkthrough. But in any case, we have a short version of the dialogue, an agentic approach, and an extensive dialogue version. That means that requires more time, more question. So in this way, you are able to be more compliant with the user uh, expectation related to such a system. This is a slide that presents how it starts with the dialogue. I just want to show you one thing that we pay a lot of attention against the ethical and legal aspect. We stress it a lot in order to be compliant with the AI Act and all the regulation that Europe has created. This is about the Academy session of the platform, where you can find the media literacy content. And then this is the collaboration model, where there is a way to collaborate with other people in order to create an argument map and have a real time, let's say, or not necessarily in real time, discussion about the topic and relative arguments. Having said that, now I'm going to give the floor to my colleague, the partner of the project that has led the implementation of the tool that I just quickly showed to you, and starting with Yorgos Petatis. George, I hope that I say you in the right way. I'm sorry. We always use George internally. Horgos, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, it's a senior researcher and the head of the content analysis and knowledge technology laboratory at the Institute of Informatics and Telecommunication, National Center for Scientific Research, Demokritos in Greece. Demokritos has worked on the theoretical foundation and methodology behind the Titan dialogues, has developed the dialogues based on human expertise, has developed the disinformation signal detection, has implemented a rule-based dialogue implementation that we have employed during the co-creation phase, and an LLM-based dialogue approach controlled through RAG approach, retrieval augmented generation. Finally, Demokritos has also developed the Titan browser plugin. Spiros Papafragos is a senior engineering manager leading the cluster of data and AI in Athens Technology Center. ATC has worked on the implementation of the Socratic coach in two iterations. First one was a guardrail approach. The second one is the one he will speak about in a while, and it is an agentic approach. And then Marcin Wozniak, specialist in computational argument mapping and the development of tool combining artificial intelligence with collective intelligence. Founder of the Swarm Check and president of the Optimum Pareto Foundation based in Krakow, where for over a decade is being developed technology supporting rational public dialogue. Creator of the mechanics and methodology for data recording and computer-assisted argumentation using the public consultation and co-creation of public policies, among other applications. He has also led a research project in AI and countering disinformation, focusing on the ethical implementation of AI solution for social good. And now I give the floor to my colleague, George, that we start with this technical breakthrough. So I will stop my presentation. Please, George, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Massimo. My name is George Petassis, and with Spiros Papafragos, we are going to present the technical aspects, the technology behind the Titan chatbot. Okay. So a brief overview of the presentation is I'm going to introduce Titan, the new approach to critical thinking, the challenges and solution, briefly the user journey, and I'm going to conclude with the implementation approaches. We're going to present 2 implementation approaches. So what is the challenge? The problem here is that fact-checking may not be enough. And the reason that fact-checking simply may not be enough is because it ignores the methods of manipulation and the psychology of belief. So this is something that we have to face, and we have taken very much into account in Titan. So disinformation campaigns typically exploit our cognitive architecture using tactics like emotional manipulation, polarization, conspiracy theories, discrediting, and various logical fallacies like ad hominem. And as we can see from the literature, from the theory, we are vulnerable to these tactics because these tactics work because they are triggering our cognitive biases, like confirmation bias. That means that we tend to believe things that are aligned with our values, with prior beliefs, and what we believe about an issue. And the socio-affective drivers like in-group identity and emotional responses. And of course, there is the illusionary truth effect, where repetitions make a lie seem more truthful. Okay, and this is a well-documented effect that we have to face. So it's not just a factual problem, but disinformation has also a psychological dimension, and this is where Titan targets. So what is the solution that Titan wants to give? Titan centers around critical thinking. Why critical thinking? Because research has shown that critical thinking is our primary defense. It's the analytical thinking that helps us distinguish between truth and falsehood. And it has been proven that it can reduce belief in fake news, and it can be used to reduce belief in conspiracy theories. So in Titan, we are not focusing so much on correction, but on cognition. And our goal is that we want to cultivate the 2 main components of critical thinking. The first dimension is the skills, as Massimo has shown, skills like interpretation, analysis, evaluation, inference, explanation, and self-regulation, as has been described by Fascione in 1990s, and but also dispositions, that is, the virtues, intellectual virtues like open-mindedness, analyticism, intellectual humility, curiosity, which are crucial in order to apply these skills effectively. And we hope that the result is that what we are going to build, Titan platform, is going to build last mental habits for cognitive resilience to citizens. So we hope that we are going to improve the skills for citizens, and these have a lasting effect. Okay, so what are the building blocks? What are the foundational principles for designing the Titan dialogues? First of all, we have chosen that our dialogues are going to be Socratic, because we need tools to teach users how to think and not just tell them that something is false, something is true, or decision making by AI. So Socratic dialogue is a method of questioning that directly cultivates critical thinking. So even, the form of the dialogue is something that cultivates the critical thinking, and this comes from the theory. And of course, we want to encourage users to independently evaluate content and form their own reasoned conclusions, and not to expect an answer, something that a decision taken from Titan. The other main building blocks is the manipulation tactics. Okay, since what are manipulation tactics? It's deliberate methods or strategies that are employed to influence the citizens, to influence our judgment, to make us believe in something. And usually they are used when we are spreading false, misleading, or deceptive information, with the intent, of course, to shape opinions, behaviors, belief in a particular direction. So these manipulation tactics are tactics like conspiracy theories, discredit, pseudoscience, polarization, trolling, science denialism. And how we can detect these manipulation tactics? We have another concept that we call disinformation signals. That is indicators in text that we can detect and characterize within the context of the tactic that signal the usage of the tactic. So we have the manipulation tactics, which are very difficult to detect as they are in documents, but we have for each tactic a set of signals, a set of indicators that we can recognize in the article, and the synthesis of these indicators, these signals, present us whether we have the usage of the tactic or not. So these are the main building blocks, the foundational principles where the dialogue design is built upon. And now that we have the building block, we have developed a methodology on how to create this dialogue. So the methodological elements of this methodology is, of course, the tactic profiling. The tactics are the core, the engine of the dialogue, the Titan dialogues. And what we have done is that for each of the tactics presented, we have done research, literature research, and we have actually create a profile for its tactic, and which contains things like how to detect this tactic and when is applied and how we can detect. And this knowledge base is the foundation of Titan, because this is where we base our dialogues. And then another methodological element is that we have formed a set of building blocks, okay, which actually conceptualize theories and research finding in small reusable packages. So there is a set of building blocks. Each dialogue can draw questions and what to discuss from these building blocks. And example building blocks is, for example, a block about pre-backing and manipulation, where sometimes the dialogue can start by displaying an infographic, which acts as a vaccine, introducing users to warning signs, to disinformation signs and manipulation tactics. Another block can be something that analyzes the origin of the content, who has written a piece of content, where the content comes from, or can proceed to the and why analysis. Another block can have the what analysis, so to analyze what is written, how it's written, what manipulation tactics are in there, and this goes on. So there is a small set of reusable building blocks where our methodology depends upon. Now, regarding the user journey, what I want to highlight here is that everything starts with content that the citizens bring to the Titan platform. So they can bring their own article, they can own blog post, a set of dialogues from social media, any type of content that they think that something is wrong, or perhaps they don't think that something is wrong, but they want to discuss with our Titan coach. Then the process is that the Titan platform analyzes this content, tries to find what manipulation tactics it can detect in there, and the manipulation tactic detected form the basis for the dialogue. Then the Titan chatbot starts posing questions, ask targeting questions, and this depends upon the type of the dialogue, the citizen's answer, and we hopefully at the end the dialogue starts when the citizen has discussed with the chatbot and hopefully has gone to his, her own individual conclusion. Then there is a part that can assess the impact of actions, what will happen if I share an item. And after there is a lot of experience with the dialogues, there is also a part of the Titan platform where the citizen can go and discuss content with other citizens, the collaboration module. So there is an offering, there is a service where the citizens through a user interface, graphical user interface, can discuss articles together. They can find pro and con arguments in the article and see them as a visual mind map. And this creates a dynamic canvas for multiple perspectives and discuss the articles and also form their own conclusions collectively. And the last Titan component is the media literacy, is the academy, where there is media literacy material where the user can browse by his, her own self and try to learn things on his, her own pace. So what was the challenges when we had to design to implement the dialogues? The first challenge is that this is a dialogue with a purpose. The dialogue cannot be a random dialogue. The dialogue has to fulfill a purpose. It has to complete a goal, to complete a task. And the task is that we want to actively engage citizens in a guided Socratic dialogue to develop robust critical thinking skills. So this dialogue must have an effect. And what was the Titan requirements? That of course we have to build a goal-oriented chatbot, a chatbot that cultivates critical thinking and enhances the media literacy of the user. And of course, we want to be theory compliant. We want to adhere to the theory and the block-based methodology that we have designed for implementing the dialogues. Of course, we want to be Socratic, which actually means from an inverted dialogue. That means it should not provide answer, but the chatbot, it should ask questions. And as you know, different types of dialogues are implemented, or as the dialogue goes deeper, it has to use more properties of the Socratic process. And the final requirement is that we should be predictable. Okay, we should provide a chatbot that it has a consistent user experience. If our user brings the same content, it's going to have a similar dialogue to it. So it should provide consistent answers for defined scenarios. Okay, so we have all these requirements, and then we had these questions. What is a good Titan dialogue? What is a dialogue that fulfills all these requirements? And the questions that are associated with this is what to discuss about when the user brings a piece of content, how to write an effective dialogue, and finally, how to implement it. Of course, we have in the project, we have done research and we have provided some answers to these questions. And these are the dialogues learned from this process. We had defined a methodology for developing the dialogue. So we have created a methodology about how to write a dialogue, which this methodology, of course, solves the problem what to discuss about, and this comes from the theory. So we are going to discuss about the manipulation tactics. The tactics that are used in the content in order to manipulate us based on the disinformation signals that can be found, the indicators that can be found in this context. And then we have devised a methodology that, starting from an article and the tactic profiles, gives specific steps on how to guide this dialogue, how to design this dialogue. So when we have a methodology, the next step was to provide a set of exemplar dialogues. So these dialogues were written by following the methodology, and these dialogues were written by humans, by domain experts, by people who know, come from multiple backgrounds, mainly from the social science and humanities, like education experts, and where our experts, that try to write effective dialogues. And of course, now that we have a methodology, and now that we have dialogues, exemplar ones, that actually present how an effective dialogue in Titan is, we had the problem how to implement the dialogues. And here the lesson learned is, because we tried both of them, is that, okay, rule-based approaches are accurate. They can stick to the theory very well, but they have limited functionality. And on the other hand, we have AI-based approaches based on large language model, which are more flexible, but it's more difficult to keep them under control with respect to the theory. So it was very clear that we need a hybrid system which combines the strength of both approaches for optimal results. And we have implemented various approaches that are in this hybrid area. So both are hybrid approaches and maintain the context and stratum on top of AI, of large language model. The first one is based on retrieval augmented generation. Not a typical one, but actually here the retrieval augmented generation is used for maintaining the structure of the dialogue. And it employs a large language model for fluid coherence, feedback, and failback. And then we have an agentic approach, which utilizes a set of specialized AI agents in order to identify and in order to discuss and expose manipulation tactics. It uses guardrails for maintaining the input and output, the input of the users and output of the systems, and employs a robust orchestrator to control the dialogue flow. So a few things about the technology used in the RAG-based approach. As I told you, we're using a retrieval augmented generation, which means that for the user query, we select some appropriate documents which contain instructions and are given to the LLM in order to generate the next chatbot question. Taking into consideration the user response to the previous chatbot question. And this RAG approach leverages an LLM for several tasks as the controller to control the dialogue flow, to decide when to re-enter the dialogue and manage irrelevant questions, as an evaluator to evaluate if the user has provided an answer that is coherent with the question that was asked, a teacher to further explain various media literacy aspects and provide some more help about why this question was asked in order to enhance the user understanding. And finally, as a translator to handle the 12 languages that are supported by the Titan coaches, both of them. And the unique features is that it can demonstrate the infographics in the context of inoculation block, micro lessons to empower the Socratic dialogue, and it has a special hallucination mode. It can detect when the dialogue has left out of the control, when the answer of the LLM is not going to be based on things that are in the database, and that we are going to use the LLM solely for replying the user questions, and we mark this to the user and say that this is potential less reliable. So the architecture of the system is this, with the central element is the RAG database, which has the documents that are shown next to it. So we start from the dialogues that were written by experts, and we created documents which contain metadata like the critical thinking level, the tactic, the signal, the previous chatbot question that was asked, the possible user answer, and some instructions, which is a prompt which guides the LLM how to generate the next question. So we have transformed all the exemplar dialogues into a database of this kind of documents. And then when the dialogue operates, we get the chatbot question and the user response, which constitutes the input. It goes to controller. We retrieve the similar documents. So we actually get this kind of documents back that match the chatbot question and the possible user response. If we cannot find good matches, this means that we get into hallucination mode. So it's special instruction prompts in order how to answer the user question, because probably he has done the questions like not very much aligned with the rest of the dialogue. Then there is the LLM answer, which goes back to the RAG controller in order to form the next chatbot question. So the RAG controller is the one that is responsible for adding elements like encouraging that he had the previous reply was good, or inject the micro lessons and the things from the media literacy, or buttons in order to make the answer more easy. And what are the lessons learned for this approach is that it can be successfully used in order to control the dialogue flows. Okay, it's based on a hybrid score that matches both the user reply, but also the original chatbot question. Okay, and also it can take decision in order to continue a specified dialogue flow or give to an answer that is out of the dialogue flow question asked by the user. And of course, it employs AI agents for many different tasks. It's responsible for a specific component of the reply, like reply to any relevant user question, describe disinformation tactics as signals based on the article in an educated way, and give feedback to the user, reply in an educated also way. And finally, at the end of the dialogue, provide a summary with many different components about the dialogue. And next is the agentic codes, which are going to present by Spiros. Spiros, the floor is yours.
Thank you, George. Hello, everyone. Okay, the agentic architecture operates in two stages. Stage one, detection and preparation, input guardrails, validate content. Disinformation signal detection identifies manipulation tactics. Question preparation creates a dialogue plan, and output guardrails ensure safe and biased responses. Stage two, Socratic dialogue. A Socratic supervisor orchestrates specialized agents, Socratic writer, fact summarizer, and micro lesson generator, through shared state to guide users through four progressive phases. This two-stage design ensures safety, relevance, and pedagogical effectiveness. The dialogue is structured in four progressive phases. Phase one, evaluate author background, credential, and biases. Phase two, assess publication, venue, and editorial standards. Phase three, identify specific tactics, fallacies like emotional manipulation, conspiracy theory, and many more. And phase four, consolidate learning and reinforce the analytical framework. This progression builds from foundational credibility assessment to specific tactics to synthesis, pedagogically sound and proven effective. Now, every question is dynamically generated through a five-step protocol. Supervisor determines a question is needed, gathers dialogue phase, history, identified strategies, and content. Supervisor calls Socratic writer with context. Socratic writer formulates phase-appropriate question. Supervisor integrates into natural response. This ensures every question is contextually relevant and pedagogically tailored. Next one, a production-grade infrastructure. For orchestration, we used LangChain, Pydantic, and LangGraph for multi-agent coordination. Concerning the models, we have used OpenAI's GPT-4.1 Mini, Llama 3.370 billions, 32 billions for different tasks. For retrieval, we used OpenAI's embeddings, MongoDB for storage, and Langsmith for monitoring. We deployed everything as a containerized application on Azure. This stack is proven scalable and designed for production. Each component is deliberately chosen for its specific role. We have identified 5 critical insights from development. A methodology is foundational. Social scientists, psychologists, and philosophers helped at early stages to build a robust framework. Test continuously and adapt iteratively. Use specialized tools for complex coordination. Guardrails through experimentation. Safety is an ongoing process. And monitor and learn comprehensively. These lessons ensure reliability, scalability, and ethical AI development. This figure shows the system in practice. Users experience seamless dialogue, while sophisticated orchestration operates invisibly behind the scenes. The architecture is transparent to the user, but sophisticated underneath. The user uploads an article. It can be seen on the right side of the screen, and the dialogue begins in the middle of the screen. History, Academy, Critical Thinking Assessment, and the Collaboration module completes the set of tools provided by Titan, depicted on the left of the screen. To conclude, Titan represents a paradigm shift from reactive fact-checking to proactive capability building. It demonstrates that AI can enhance human capabilities, that classical pedagogy can be scaled through modern technology, and that we can build a more informed, more resilient society. Thank you. We're happy to take questions.
So are there...
Sorry,
Actually,
the
there was-
participants cannot unmute themselves. You can see in the chat the questions.
Yeah, there is one question that was posed during the presentation of the theoretical foundation, George. So
the ontology of your modeling approach. We are not using an ontology, we are using a methodology, actually, which has the foundational that I have proposed. Can you provide more details? Can somebody who has written the question just make the question?
actually, the same one also asked for another question, which is about the type of orchestrator to model the prompts. I guess that this is okay.
We use generative AI in order to generate the prompt. We use large language model, the ones that have been mentioned, and Gemma 3 for an offline modeling. So its approach is using a single LLM at a time, and orchestrator to model the prompts between the LLMs. Actually, I can comment only for the RAG approach. These prompts, there is a small library of prompts, not an extensive one. There are not very many prompts out there in order to do the various functionality. And each document that we have in the RAG database actually provides pointers to this prompt library in order to select the prompts that are relevant for its interaction.
George, sorry to interrupt you. Just because I'm looking to the chat, and there is a lot of questions, and also there is, I guess, one of the ATC people is giving answer directly into the chat. But yes. Now, I try also to give some, because the answer that you are reading in the chat is the answer provided by just ATC. So it's not...
I don't see any answer in the chat. I see only questions. So, Spiros, if you...
Yeah, so regarding
there are
the
some people
GNNs,
that give answers.
we don't use GNNs. We use, when I said the supervisor, the Socratic supervisor, it's an agentic supervisor. So it takes it's responsible to give tasks to other agents. So regarding to the question or the input of the user, it assigns tasks to other agents. That's the architecture, and that's what I was talking about, the supervisor.
Spiros, there is an additional question because I see that you and Anastasis are giving answers together in parallel. So I guess that the answer to Orpheus, I don't know if I'm saying it right in the right way, has been given by Anastasis.
Yes, it's an agentic
But
pattern. It's an LLM. An LLM takes the decision
I will kindly ask
and
to
assigns tasks.
I will kindly ask to once take a look to the chat, and then just to give to the other in connected and not look into the chat, that let's try to give the answer and also the question. So there was a question. Thank you.
Thank you.
On behalf of everyone.
Regarding the web and browser, we have Massimo. Do
We
you want
have
to answer?
actually, yes. Actually, there is a question about the interface for the citizen. We have a web app, which is something that you can also try to use it. After the end, we are going to provide you the links to be registered on the platform, and so you can try it by yourself. But we also have provided a browser plugin. At the end of this webinar, we will present a QR code where for the links, relevant links of this webinar. So just scanning the QR code, you can reach the webinar page where all the links that you need in order to reach the platform or the plugin. Everything will be there. And we are also working on a prototype for a mobile application, which is still not ready, but we hope to be ready by the end of this month. So I guess that there is another question. Chatbot start with a topic. Is it possible to input an image or serve text? Oh, okay. Right now, the chatbot works only on text. So we analyze only, there is only a text text on analyzers. In the future, we can imagine, because there is also, this is a requirement. Have you seen we had a lot of co-creational session in this last part of the period when people actually is working during the pilot in the use cases, especially in some kind of let's say target, we get the request to work on also on images and only on chat. Right now the project is at the end, so it's not possible to do this, but it's something that we recognize it's a need. Okay, lot of question. George, I guess that this one is for you. Can you perhaps elaborate more on the use of the RAG approach?
Yeah, because the RAG controller actually does more than just coordinating a series of prompts. It maintains the state of the dialogue and actually takes into account the media literacy level that has been measured, if it is available, of the user, if the user has done the critical thinking access question, critical thinking level questionnaire, the one that Massimo has presented. So it actually, there is a controller that maintains all these elements and also maintains the history, what has been discussed prior with the user, and what tactics has to discuss about, what signals, and what the user knows, what the user does not know, and respond to all this information. And also, of course, has to take a decision from a list of signals that are inside the document for which signals in order to discuss about. So we think that, using a RAG and using this approach was more suitable for the kind of dialogue that we want to do in the system. Now, regarding the usage of directly acyclic graph, which actually our RAG platform, the database is an acyclic graph. Actually, it has some cycles also there. It's not directly acyclic. And we try to use to fine-tune LLM models, but actually we decide not to deploy these models. And right now the system uses LLMs as they have been provided. So the RAG approach actually uses a quite small LLM. It uses the GEMO 12 billion model. Because it's locally deployed in NCSR Democratos premises, and it does not use an API from a model provided by an external provider for security reasons and for maintaining the privacy of the user, which is also an important element.
Exactly, because we have a strong focus also on the ethical legal aspect. Before giving the floor to Marcin, that has to present the third tool of the platform that synergetically works with the other one to increase critical thinking. I just want to say, Spiros, do you want to add just something about this specific question? Because I think that with the agentic approach, you have a different approach regarding the usage of LLMs. So if you can briefly give an answer.
I don't have anything specific to add to this. Okay, I see the inputs. We haven't considered this since we followed the agentic approach, and we have tried several architectures, and finally we ended up with the one that I presented earlier, since we needed a two-stage. So in the first stage we prepare all the content, and this is later moved on to the Socratic supervisor, which takes which begins all the process of the dialogue, and is able and decides at every step where to assign the task. So okay,
No,
we
it's
haven't followed
just to be sure
neither
that there is.
that or GNNs, but thanks for the input, Orfea.
Okay, thank you. And now I give the floor to Marcin, because
Massimo,
we have to.
can I also show the team? So this presentation
Yes, please. No,
contains
you're right.
work from all these nice people, that have been collaborating within Titan project in order to produce, implement, and do all the theoretical work that me and Spiros have been presenting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So let's give the floor to Marcin.
Thank you very much. I'll try to be quick to present the collaboration module. So the ability to interact not only with Socratic coach, but with other users in the Titan platform, to have different intelligence included in the analysis of the articles, collective intelligence. So what is the collaboration module? When we go into the Titan platform, there is a collaboration option, and one can either start new collaboration with new article, new claim, or browse existing collaboration. After the selection is made, we see something like this. If the user selected something that is already there, they can see something called argument map. It is similar to mind mapping, but it is more structured. As you can see, it is hidden at the beginning. We only see the initial claim or root claim, which is the starting point of the discussion, but everything else is hidden. User needs to click on it to uncover what is underneath, what are the arguments. This is maybe a small detail, but this is very important for basically remembering which part of the discussion is familiar to me and which are yet to be uncovered. So this is how uncovered argument map looks like. And as we can see, there are two distinctive elements, so boxes that contain either claims or sources for those claims. And then we have relationships. So the red arrows represent disagreements, counter-arguments, and the green arrows represents supporting arguments, so the premises for the conclusion. And of course, dotted line represents source. So this is basically another way of structuring the discussion, which is not narrative. This is all at once, showing every nuance, every branch of the discussion at the same time, creating this type of cognitive scaffolding for the user to think differently about the discussion. Because narrative can influence the user, can lead the way in terms of storytelling. But the argument map is only showing the content for the reasoning. So this is very important for the critical thinking. And this computer-assisted argumentation is a part of older tradition of AI called sometimes good old-fashioned AI, which is based on expert systems. So the systems in which we don't have any black box thinking, we only have transparent reasoning, transparent rules that we can follow, and collectively we can create something that is much better, much smarter than individual action of one user. So let's look at the example of one discussion. The starting claim was the Ukraine started the war in Ukraine. That was basically the claim made someday by Donald Trump, and we can see the origin of this claim because the green arrow show us the premises. So the Donald Trump claimed you've been there for years. You should have ended it. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. And there is a source for this claim, referring, of course, to the starting of the war. And what type of reasoning is this? Because Donald Trump said something, the conclusion that he is coming to is can be trusted if the person who is claiming it is trustworthy, right? So this is like a hidden assumption in this reasoning that we can examine separately. And of course, we don't really need to only examine the source, we can examine the claim on itself. So as we can see, there are many counter arguments for this particular claim. What we can do other than the reading of argument map? We can also click on specific claim and we can choose if we want to agree ourselves, disagree, we can maybe paraphrase to make it more concrete, and we can also give a source for it. When we choose a claim, so here, for example, some user chose the claim Russia has started the war invading the Ukrainian territories and started to typing something, right? The system is trying to formulate it as a argument. One should think that selected conclusion because end user is typing while typing the premise for this conclusion, the system is trying to look for similar claims from the past. This is very important because when user selects some claim from the past, the system is joining two conversations. So basically, this is not only individual map that we are interacting with. We are interacting with all the maps in the system, in the database at the same time. So all the discussion are creating shared knowledge base for collaboration in terms of representing argumentation that we want to examine. What are the other ways we can interact with this argument map? We can use specialized emojis. So, for example, we can indicate that we need a premise for this. We need justification for this premise. We can say that this claim needs to be rephrased, or this claim needs another source. Or even we can indicate that this claim changed my mind. So we can also track which are the claims and arguments that are most useful in terms of changing other people's minds. And we basically want to reward in this manner users who put forward good arguments. If we remember that all the claims or the argumentation is reusable, we can do many interesting things with it. So, for example, we can create databases of argumentation from reliable sources, from fact-checking websites, in order to give those suggestions for the users from trusted sources. So they don't have to, for example, all the time prove why the Earth is not flat, it is rather round, but they can reuse the argumentation from fact-checking sources to reuse argument structures that are already there in the database. The argument maps on its own have this additional summaries for statistical purpose, for example, for educators, for the moderators who are conducting some discussion with their group, for them to see the overall picture. For example, which claim is most network, which gathered the most support, which gathered the most counter arguments, and so on. What is interesting about argument mapping as in opposed to other forms of deliberation, in especially collective deliberation, is this is very useful for enhancing critical thinking skills. So you can see here the improvement for critical thinking measured in standard deviation in comparison to a first year of college and the semester of college with mixed philosophy and critical thinking course. The semester of college with argument mapping course significantly outperformed those methods for increasing critical thinking. And if we look into the design of Titan with collaboration module in comparison to standard LLM tools like ChatGPT, we can see the main difference. We can see that our design allows user to thinking with the tool by enhancing their capabilities for critical thinking, expressed here by critical thinking dimensions skills like interpretation, analysis, evaluation, inference, explanation, and self-regulation. Because if we look at the recent studies, for example, from MIT, the prolonged usage of LLMs actually reduces critical thinking. And this is because we are offloading our critical thinking capabilities to the model like ChatGPT. And the skill that is not trained, that is not used, can diminish in time. So when we, for example, go into the interpretation, ChatGPT can be seen as just a person who is talking to us. But the Titan is making the user aware of the media literacy. It gives tips for media literacy, for argumentation, and so on. In analysis, the plain text narrative can be contrasted with argument mapping, structured reasoning, and integrating multiple points of view. Evaluation is quite important as well, because traditional LLMs like ChatGPT, they have hidden ways of thinking. This is called black box thinking, but especially in terms of argument mapping, we have transparency, and this reasoning that is represented can be interacted with. So it is not only something that we passively consume, we are invited to interact with it. And of course, inferences we can reduce hallucination in terms of the ways my colleagues presented before, but especially on argument map, there is no place for hallucination. We only see the inputs from other users. We can examine the chain of premises and conclusions. We can also examine the sources. And a very important part is positive friction and negative friction. So in Titan, we have something that is called positive friction, because we not only are showing the response for the answer, just the result for the user, but we are questioning, why do you want this particular result? What are your premises? What are your ways of thinking? And this creates a space in which learning can be possible. And of course, it is connected to self-regulation, like Socratic questioning assumptions, in contrast to very worrying behavior of LLMs like psychophancy. So, for example, flattering users and telling them that they have the best ideas, the best claims, arguments, and so on. So I think this distinction is very important to understand, to see why we need something like Titan platform, and it is not enough just to prompt ChatGPT for it to be more critical, or for us to ask us better questions. Okay, so this is all for my part, and we can go back to the questions. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Marcin. So let me share my screen again, and well, I guess that a lot of there is one question for you, I guess. So if you think that
Yeah, it would be very interesting to have some sort of mobile game based on this approach. It is something that, in terms of future work, it is totally possible.
So I think that probably most of the questions have been we already have given the answer, but in any case, if you have additional question, actually we ran out of the time that we scheduled at the beginning, but of course, any additional question are welcome. So while you think for possible new question, I just want to share with you this QR code. You can use this QR code, or you can use the link written down below, titanthinking.eu/webinar series, to reach the page where we have all the webinars, and you can find also the links to the Titan platform that, as I said before, you can test by yourself. You just need to sign in and go ahead. And all links that are that we have presented during this session. If I don't see any other questions, so I think that we can close, since, as I say, we are almost out of time. So let me wrap up. Today we try to present you briefly all the works that we have done in Titan in order to work on the critical thinking and media literacy skill of users through the usage of AI. But you have seen, we put together different pieces, different tools that can work together. And we also know that from the user journey point of view, using these three different tools is not really simple from the user journey point of view. Indeed, at the end of the project, we have decided to split the system in two versions. One is the standalone version, where you can only use the chatbot, and there is another version that is the community edition that is targeting to educational organization, institution that wants to work on critical thinking skill against disinformation. Why I'm saying this, because right now, joining the platform, you will see all the 3 tools as the community edition let you use it. Community means that we recognize that since using these different tools together can be not easy, we imagine that all the tools will be used in a controlled setting where there is one tutor that creates proper workshop in order to guide the user during a period of time using preparing the content, and so preparing the article that you can work on, or you can select the one that you want, or preparing the media literacy content, and also preparing the argumentative map. So we also have created the features in order to let organization to create their own groups of people working on their own specific content that they have prepared. But there was no time in order to present all this stuff. So I just want to clarify why if you join the system and going to use the system, you are able to see the coach, the media literacy, and the argumentative collaborative tool. So thank you all for joining us today, for your attention through the session, and for your question. If you have any further question, of course, or would like to explore Titan in more detail, feel free to reach out. I was just after the webinar. I just here put the contact for the email of the speakers of today. Okay, that's all from my side. We have almost sort of half an hour after what we have imagined scheduled for this webinar. I see new question. I don't know. Okay, no, just thank you. That's perfect. Thank you all for joining us today, and have a great day, and see you next time, maybe. Bye bye. Thank you.